models?
My parents.
Tell me about them.
Pierre, everything my parents did, I said I wouldn't do.
Oh, really?
Okay, well, number one, the best thing I think they did was drag us to church, all right? We lived across the street from a church, which meant every time that church door opened, we were there, all right? That wasn't so bad, but as we grew, there was 5 children.
And which one are you?
I'm the oldest.
Figured that.
Uh-huh. So you finally make it through. My parents started taking in children, Pierre. By the time we started graduating from high school, my parents adopted 2 children. There was a third. And then I had left home, but then there were 2 more. So in reality, it was 5 extra children. Now, leaving home doesn't get you out of the mix, okay? You still have to help with those five extra children. My parents were so patient. I couldn't understand why they didn't say, hey, we've done our 5. I saw them take on tasks that I just felt I would not do. But don't ever say what you won't do, okay? Because I think that that was my feeling at the time as a young woman, you know. But as I began to see those 5 children grow up, get the opportunity to graduate from school, and get more privileges than the first 5 had experienced. And so that felt good, knowing that and seeing that.
I was here only one time with First Methodist, and they put me with the napkins and the fork, and I was doing okay. And then here comes a man, woman, and then here comes a mother with 2 little kids, and it choked me up.
Well, Pierre, right now I have a mother with 7 children. 7 children. The father came in one day and he said, we need to eat, and where can we eat at? I said, we, how many? And he said, I have 7 kids. And so now you got my attention, all right? I found a table, we emptied a table. Hey, this is your table. I want all of you seated together. This is your table. I want to make you comfortable as possible because I want you to come back. I never want those kids to go hungry, nor do I want to ask too many questions where the parent may sort of draw back or feel as though we've offended them in any way, because my real purpose is to make sure that child get a meal, no matter what you have to do in order to assure that.
When you're a teenage girl about to leave the nest, what do you think, what kind of life are you daydreaming about?
Pierre, always in mind of, we had a small school and we had a great group of teachers, and so and they were the type that would pull you aside, tell you what you were good at, and sort of encourage you constantly. I always had a job in mind. But Pierre, I have worked since I have been 12. So it wasn't a matter of, am I gonna work? It's what I'm gonna work at, okay?
Was money a big deal when you're young?
No.
Okay, you get paid a different way.
Yes. Number one, what you have to experience is being on other jobs. When you be on other jobs, and what I experienced was that satisfaction in your work is important. Being able to do the job is important. But sometimes you're not treated right on those jobs. I don't care what job it is. So Pierre, one of my first experiences as a Christian is knowing to pray, okay? And as a young woman, I didn't do that. I could go out and get a job, all right? And you thank God for having the job, and on and on and on, all right? And I believed in that. But finally, as I grew older, I also realized that, hey, that was your choice. That wasn't God's choice. All right? So finally I decided, this time I'm going to pray and ask God to put me where He wants me to be. Not where I want to be, but where He wants me to be. And the Bible says, if He placed you where He wants to be, He's going to keep you. And being kept is meant supply your needs, all right? And I think if you look around, you'll realize that He supplied my needs.
How did you get started at Abraham's Tent?
Well, actually, I started before the program started, because there was a priest at the diocese that was working on this effort. He, along with another group of ministers that we call Calcasieu Ministerial Association. And I worked under him, and he was making every effort to get this project started. So I did lots of their letters that they sent out to other churches asking them to join in on this. And then once it became established, then they were, quite often, they needed volunteers. So occasionally our office would come out and volunteer as an office group during our lunch hour.
What year are we talking about?
We're talking about 1986 is when they opened their doors.
Okay.
But there had been lots of work done the year before. Lots of meetings, looking for a place to establish a feeding program, and trying to see how they were going to go about it, who would be in leadership. And there was a lots that went on during the previous year. What brought it to the diocese's attention was that the diocese had an office downtown. I think it was in the old Calcasieu Marine building. And when we would come to work, there were people down there early in the morning, some sleeping, some asking for food or other items, or where they could go for food. And so it was visible all over town. Mm-hmm. And a number of the churches that met with that Calcasieu Ministerial Association expressed the fact that people were knocking on their doors, because they felt that if there was someone living there, surely there was a kitchen and there was food in that location. And so they were extremely hard hit.
Yeah. Now, and y'all chose the old Fisherville Elementary?
The Fisherville Elementary at that particular time was being used by a Meals on Wheels program. But they came in like at 5 o'clock in the morning and did their cooking and what have you. And by the middle of the morning, they were through and gone. So they agreed to share that building with us.
I was in radio and I came and did an interview with you, and I was just amazed at what you turned out in the facilities that you had.
It was the building was totally ridiculous. But John, I applaud having that building, because we spent 25 years in that building, okay? And during that time, we fixed what we could fix, and we just kept fixing and fixing. And finally, we just had no choice. We know we needed a building. But one of the problems was not so much the fix and what have you, but it was the fact that we were not supposed to be a permanent program. We were supposed to be a program that was going to stay around until unemployment got better, and then we were going to shut our doors. That's how we were established, okay? But the problem with that was, once they recognized that unemployment was not the only problem that we had here in Lake Charles. We had a growing number of senior citizens We had a large number of mentally ill people. We had a number of groups of people that needed help.
Great. What year did y'all move into we call the new building?
2014.
So how did you become director?
John, I was searching. When I began to see the hungry people and all of this, I wanted to be a part of this program. But at that particular time, there were 2 nuns had been brought into Lake Charles to head up the program. Actually, they were retired teachers, and their purpose was to go out and speak to church groups, invite other people to participate, to seek out food donations, and to just sort of head up the program. But they were only here temporarily. And so the program was looking for someone to apply to head up this particular program. And no, John, I wasn't the only one. If I remember right, Father Pereira told me that there were 18 applicants.
Wow.
And so they went through those 18 applicants. And I don't think it was anything special about me. I simply had prayed and asked God to use me. And I felt that this was where I wanted to be used. But my prayer also said that, Lord, if this is for me, please place me here. But if it's not for me, I want the best person for the job.
Yeah. And here we are.
And here we are 36 years later.
Fantastic.
My overall view, John, is that no one person does this. You know, I applaud every day, and I tell people every day that it's awesome to be here because, in my opinion, I see God at work every day. I see people come in with one item, and somebody else come in with another, and someone else come in with another. And somehow we made a meal out of those things that they brought. Also, volunteers. No one comes in. Very seldom we get a professional that come in. We have a few professional cooks who come in, but basically it's volunteers. And what happens is everybody does a job, and all the jobs get done, and people have a meal. You know, I see people work together in I mean, just from all walks of life. Some days we have large groups here, and I'd like to mention some of them. United Methodists, I mean, I just have to applaud them. They just can come in and cut up and chop up and get us ready for a number of days. And they have the number of people to do it. They have also chosen a number of days during the month. I schedule people according to when they would like to come and as often as they would like to come. And I can tell you, this is how we've been able to make this program work. It's not about one person. It's not about one group. It's about people working together. And it's awesome to see. It's just totally awesome to see. A group walk in and, you know, someone said, well, I'm not used to cooking, but I'll do whatever. All right, so if they can't cook, they can peel something, they can chop something, they can do whatever. But to me, this has just been God at work. People want to help and willing to help and getting the job done, and people being fed every day. And during those 25 years, John, that we were over at that old building, we served 7 days a week.
That's right.
We have now cut that down to 6 days a week.
Yeah.
But we actually serve 7 days a week.
Your main job or your main purpose, I guess, here is to feed the hungry, and anyone can eat. There's no charge or anything like that. You don't ask any qualifying
There's
questions.
no charge.
Yeah.
There's no qualifying questions.
But they get more than just physical food, don't they?
Yes,
What,
they
what do
do.
they get?
Family, community. Okay. I think a lot of them look forward to just showing up, having someone else to talk to. Sometimes there are other needs also. We started off just addressing the meal, and then slowly, the woman that worked with me at that time, she and I recognized that a number of our transits and our homeless were looking for coats, clean socks, just having dry clothing. And I tell you how we started off. We started off by taking our teenage son's clothing, you know, they didn't miss it, all right? But later on, our volunteers saw what we were doing, and they agreed that they would like to bring in things that weren't being used. Then we had our homeless right here in Lake Charles. They needed those same things. They needed dry socks, dry jackets, clean underwear, you know. And so we started addressing those problems also.
How do you keep a positive attitude whenever you see daily folks who are in need?
I recognize the need, and I often put myself in their position. I don't like wet socks, John. I don't like to be cold. You know, so when someone addressed that, well, hey, I'm going to find a jacket, you know, or we're going to find something, you know. But I think that's a God thing. I pray constantly. I could not stay in this job without praying. And stand positive. John, every day you are met with some good things and some bad things. And the one thing that I can say about me is that I don't take it home with me. It doesn't stay with me. I leave here, and no matter how bad the day has been, get out of my way, I'm coming to work tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to it. And yesterday's bad day is gone. And I think that's because I recognize that how would I feel if I was having to do without a meal, missed a meal, cold, wet, don't know where the next meal is coming from, and no one acts as though they care. What if I had all of this anger? How would I react to it?
How do you keep it up for 36 years? I know what you're going to tell me, but
I don't, John, this had never been a boring day. People, especially young people, like using, oh, that's a boring job or whatever. It's not boring here. Every day, number one, is a challenge. It's a challenge to try to put out the best meal that you can possibly put out, all right? And to know, plan ahead to make sure that you have what you need for that meal. That's my number one challenge. And that's how we've come to the fill up the building and things that you and I have worked on for years, you know. But had those things not been in place, you know, oh gosh, that would have been a great challenge, all right. I often tell my friends that when I come to work, when I get out of my car, I leave me behind. Whatever is bothering me, whatever is on my mind or whatever, you know, my total focus becomes, all right, what are we gonna cook? How can we make it the best we can possibly make it? And what about the rest of the week? Or even long terms like the food drives and whatever, you know. And so it's an ongoing thing that keeps you completely busy. You stay busy with these things. And so there's just no time for bored. I'm always looking forward to the next
good.
to the next project.
Pearl, tell me about the challenges that you're facing. Well, let's talk about, first of all, you've decided to retire at the end of this year. Is that right?
Yes.
Tell me about that. Miss Pearl can't retire, can she? Yes, she can. She's put in her work and time.
I've put in my work and time, I believe. Okay, but now John saying retiring is I'm leaving this job. All right, and it's my hope that God always has a job for me. Okay, so that's how I'm looking at it now. I put in a lots of hours, sometime on this job, and I take my paperwork home with me and do it at home. And I have no regrets for nothing that I've had to do here. But at present, I am battling, let me back up. God is battling this cancer that's within me. I have been diagnosed with cancer, and I think that happened sometimes this summer. And I was told that I would have to have chemo. And that's what I'm going through now. So that's the reason for the little hat on the head. Actually, I'm bald under that hat. But so I have decided that this chemo is long and it's tiring. And I feel right now that I'm going to leave the job and try to take care of Pearl for a while. And then I'll look around and see what God has for me to do from this point on. I have no plans to sit down. I don't think we were placed here to sit down and to just say, let somebody else handle it.
Yeah.
I feel just as though the people that I just spoke so highly of, the volunteers that come into Abraham's tent and who get so much done, and I want to be one of those. I want to be one of those people who, all right, I'm no longer on the job, but I know that God has something out there for me to do.
What were the plans after you leave?
There has been someone who has been around and who feel real comfortable in taking over.
As you look back on this career here at this service that you've performed for Abraham's Tent, what goes through Miss Pearl's mind?
I'm so grateful that God used me. I feel real good when I go home and know that somebody ate, somebody left laughing about. We had sweet potatoes, and we had a truckload, and of course we was cooking them often, and so many people were so happy, and they could tell me that was home-cooked sweet potatoes, that was not out of the can or whatever. It's all about what we've been able to do for somebody else. And if I get the opportunity to help, then my time has been well spent.
Good.